Alright, so here we are. GrandMonster against ThorOrders on Midgard. ThorOrders playing Thor, not surprisingly, given his name, and GrandMonster playing as Odin. So we're actually going to see a Norse mirror on Midgard, though it is going to be Thor against Odin, and it's not quite a mirror because each of these do have different bonuses. Though in general, I'd say Thor is probably considered to be a little bit better on this map than Odin because of his great dwarven economy, allowing him to get a much easier early start than Odin. You see right away, GrandMonster docking in the corner. He's got a fish trio spotted, so he feels really happy pulling this dock down since he knows he's at least guaranteed a fish trio. While ThorOrders, he looks to be placing a little bit of a blind dock, so choosing to get the dock down nice and early. Maybe he wants to go for a bit more scouting instead of trying to get a fish trio. But this decision, it looks like it's not going to be working out well for him because the closest fish trio are going to be here and here, which are quite far away. There's only a single perch over there. But the upside is he is going to be able to get a bit more scouting done with his All-Shark, and as Thor, you really struggle with the scouting, so getting as much scouting as you can done early is nice, though maybe it might not be worth it for the bad position of this dock. It might be worth it to run around the shoreline a little bit with your All-Star to just see if you can find a fish trio, because that would make your fishing ships much more efficient and also much more defendable once Classic Age comes around. You see, Great Hunt has been used for GrandMonster. Looks like he has gotten one cow only, so yeah, that's a thing you see on water maps. Great Hunt's being used just straight away on your herdables so that you can eat them on your town center on water maps. Even if it's only one cow, it's just really important to have your build go as smoothly as possible in the early game on this kind of map. So GrandMonster is going to be delaying on his ox cart a little bit for the gold, but he does get it out now with 2 doors on gold, so it's not going to be that late. In the meantime, he's already saturated his fish trio, and he's going to be able to find even more fish trios over here. There's another fish trio over here, another fish trio over here, another fish trio over here. So GrandMonster actually has his dock down in a really good spot. He's gonna get some really good income from the fishing ships, while ThorOrders these fish to quite far away, unfortunately. Looking at the scouting, both of the players, they seem to have scouted the small circle around their base. ThorOrders ending his circle with a second dock, so he sort of recognizes that his first dock might not be doing so well, so he goes for a second dock, this time on a really nice fish trio close to the shoreline. So this second dock, it's gonna sort of have access to this fish. Well, not really, but it has got access to this fish and sort of this fish. So this dock is definitely much better placed than the ThorOrders first dock. Though I still think GrandMonster's dock is just in a much better position. GrandMonster, he's still staying on one dock. He's not opted for another dock. Just scouting a bit more with his All-Shark. After all, I mean, with this dock having so many fish next to it, I feel like GrandMonster is pretty confident about just staying on one dock for now, and he can get his second dock up later. I mean, he's got so many fish in this corner right over here. Well, for ThorOrders, I can see why he's gone for this other dock. So right now, GrandMonster looks like he will be starting his temple pretty soon. He's got the resources, so yep, the temple is coming down. And he's going to advance at a pretty reasonable time. While for ThorOrders, we also see the temple coming up at a similar time. But if we look now, let's have a look at the fish numbers for both of these players. It's actually tied neck and neck for now. It's tied neck and neck, but I feel like ThorOrders, he's actually a little bit ahead on the fish, just because he's got an extra dock out. Keep that in mind. He's got an extra dock out. That's 100 wood. So even though currently the fishing ship numbers are tied, ThorOrders he's actually managed to achieve more in the early game, and that's in big part because he's Thor and he's got a really great early economy using these doors. GrandMonster now, he's finished his temple, so he's got his 2 ravens, so he's going to be able to scout the map. Unlike Thor, who doesn't really have quite as good of a job scouting the map. And I feel like on Midgard, scouting the map is really, really important because anything can happen on Midgard. Like you can lose water over here, and you can also get gold starved. The gold mines on Midgard tend to be really, really aggressive. Taking town centers can also happen. Like on Midgard, really anything can happen. You just never know with this map. So scouting, especially important on Midgard. So that is a really big edge that Odin has over Thor, having these 2 Raven scouts to give him information about what's going on and what his opponent is doing, so he can counter it. So let's see where these ravens are going. So yeah, it appears they're not really looking for any particular spot, but they're just looking to get more vision of the map, find out where the gold mines are, find out where the settlements are. You actually see here on this map, we have 2 backward settlements. Like we don't have any forward settlements right in the middle of the map. And I believe this is the case on Midgard about 25% of the time, which means that this Midgard, it's a little bit more defensive. However, the gold mines are still very aggressive, and Norse against Norse tends to be a really, really explosive matchup. So, yeah, I still think we're going to see a lot of action this game. A lot of early fighting. And not a lot of just passive boomy play. ThorOrders. He's up in the Classical Age through Freya. He's going to be up slightly earlier than GrandMonster. He's got 13 fishing ships. Yeah, pretty good number. I mean, he's got all the fish over here, though. These fishing ships look a bit exposed, and also, yeah, I feel like he could be using the fish a little bit more. Instead, we see now 3 forward longhouses going straight up for ThorOrders. So it looks like ThorOrders wants to put on some early aggression, maybe. I mean, he does have a little bit of a faster start as Thor on this map compared to Odin, so he could definitely do that. But here's the thing: he doesn't have the scouting done, so he doesn't actually know what GrandMonster's base is like. He's got the Valkyrie to come here to go and explore, maybe see if GrandMonster has a vulnerable gold mine or where the wood line is, so he can look for places to harass. But this Valkyrie looks to be not really headed for GrandMonster's base, instead just exploring the side over here. GrandMonster, he's also brought his Valkyrie forward. He's got much better scouting of the map thanks to these 2 ravens. And his Valkyrie, unfortunately, this isn't where ThorOrders is gathering wood, so GrandMonster is still not quite sure where to hit with the Valkyrie. It'll be really nice to just move in and get Forest Fire in for some idle time, and then maybe pick off a villager or 2 if you're lucky. So now the Valkyrie is going to move in. It's going to check out this wood line, but there's no gathering being done over here. Instead, we see that all the gathering is being done over here, and there's 6 dwarves and 6 gatherers for a total of 12 villagers. So Valkyrie coming down in here with Forest Fire. Even if you don't pick off any villagers, that's a lot of idle time with 12 gatherers. You see GrandMonster. On the other hand, he sort of split his he split his wood gathering into two different groups, so that Forest Fire isn't going to force as much idle time. Let's see here, a bit of a skirmish. GrandMonster, he's just moving his All-Stars forward to have maybe see if he can get a little bit of a raid in, but these units are going to get caught. Forest Fire comes down, the Valkyrie is getting some nice harass on the Gatherer. This Gatherer, it looks like should be just escaping just fine, and the Herster is here to deal with the Valkyrie. The Valkyrie is taking a lot of damage, so ThorOrders really should be careful about losing this Valkyrie. You don't want to lose this Valkyrie for no reason this early. He is backing off now. Meanwhile, the Valkyrie of GrandMonster does find the woodline, but the Herster of ThorOrders is here to deal with it, along with these villagers also chiming in to help the fight. We actually see that GrandMonster didn't use Forest Fire here, so I guess he doesn't put a lot of value on the idle time over here. Instead, choosing to save Forest Fire for a fight. Now see ThorOrders, he's going through with his plan. He's got a lot of pressure, and he's got these throwing axemen, he's got these raiding cavalry, and they're all over here. While GrandMonster's army, initially he was just pumping out loads and loads of All-Starks, but of course you don't really want All-Starks against this type of army. Instead, he started to make throwing axemen, which should work a lot better, especially with the choke point over here. Even though ThorOrders has raiding cavalry, with this building placement, it's easy to get a good choke point in, and win this fight that way. I also see that GrandMonster, he's got his medium upgrades, medium throwing axemen, medium all-star. ThorOrders has yet to get them. He's got some military buildings over here, so if the fight breaks down, it's his GrandMonster who will have the defender's advantage. So despite ThorOrders' faster start, I'm not sure if ThorOrders will actually be coming out ahead in this fight. And in fact, with these numbers right now, I don't think so. A fight is happening now, so let's see how the losses are doing. Looks like pretty even for now, but the losses are right now. They're piling up for ThorOrders. His army is getting smaller and smaller, and these throwing axemen are just doing so much damage to all of these units. It's medium units against non-medium units, so GrandMonster's units are a lot better. He's also got the numbers advantage right now in the fight. Valkyries coming in. There are no more Hursars to deal with these Valkyries. After all, GrandMonster's army, it's got a lot of throwing axemen, so Hursars for ThorOrders won't last very long. All these units are now being picked off. You can see a big difference in the kill-death for ThorOrders and GrandMonster. The aggression really not working out for ThorOrders. If we look on the water though, looks like neither player has really focused much on the water. The emphasis here really seems to be on the land. GrandMonster, he's got his two ravens actually positioned on both sides of the water, so you can see the ships passing through. So these three longboats were scouted out by the Raven, but there was quite a lot of action happening here. So I'm not sure if GrandMonster was paying attention. It looks like he was. He did notice these longboats are coming through, so he is responding right now, building these two longboats in return to defend the water. GrandMonster has 18 fishing boats on water to ThorOrders 11, so he's getting a lot of food income from the water. So he's sort of content about this. He feel like he doesn't actually need to be the one pressuring the water of ThorOrders. I mean, with this many fishing ships, and also with his Raven scouting, he knows that ThorOrder doesn't actually have that many fishing ships, so he's content here to just defend his water. After all, he's the one that's benefiting a lot more from the water than ThorOrders is. Now GrandMonster, having taken the winning fight, he's moving forward now. He's got a nice population lead in terms of the army sizes at least. He also got more upgrades. He's got some Valkyries which are really population efficient, so GrandMonster's army is just so much stronger over here. He's moving forward and he's going to be taking the advantage in the fight. All the Hursars are now down for ThorOrders, so these Valkyries are going to be completely uncontested. The throwing axemen just taking out the Hursars so fast. The two longboats, the three longboats that ThorOrders sends down here, they're going to be picked off by GrandMonsters without any issues. GrandMonster defending the water with just a perfect number of longboats, meanwhile just focusing on land at the same time. And the gold mine here is just now running out for ThorOrders, so ThorOrders, he's not going to have an option to just sit back and choose not to fight, because he is out of gold. If GrandMonster spots the gold mine, then he can just keep on fighting and snowball his military lead and just win the game like that. But I don't know if GrandMonster is aware about this gold mine over here, or at least these gatherers coming down to this gold mine. So yeah, he has scouted the gold mine, and maybe he can make an educated guess, seeing that his army is over here, that ThorOrders will be moving down to this gold mine, and maybe he might go check it out. For now, he's getting lots of free kills basically on these units of ThorOrders being pumped out from the barracks. It's looking pretty bad for ThorOrders, I have to say. The gold mine of GrandMonster has also finished, and he's going to be moving out in his forward gold over here, but since he is the one with the military advantage, this should be safe. There is the Valkyrie here coming down to check out this gold mine, but it's only got 31 health, and it's actually going to turn around. It's not even going to make an attempt. Now we see the units of GrandMonster just moving down now. They're going to find this gold mine maybe. If they were spotted by the sentry tower, and ThorOrders is backing his miners off to try and save them. But these guys have got nowhere to go. There's no other gold mine to really use apart from this one. There's also another gold mine down here, but that's even further far forward. The Valkyries of GrandMonster now spotting the gold mine of ThorOrders. I don't see what's the hope left for these gatherers, or what's the hope left for ThorOrders' gold situation over here. And ThorMonster, he sees this. He's ThorOrders. He sees this as well, and he taps out. This gold mine has been found. His base is in shambles, and he's got basically no army. He's got loads of villagers just picked off. So yeah, and we can see here the score difference. This game absolutely over. Well played by GrandMonster, doing really nicely on the fish boom, really good on the defense and the army composition. Looks like GrandMonster really knows what he's doing with his Odin. Now I think Odin is a really tricky god, so yeah, you don't see players like that very often that really know what they're doing with Odin.
Tilbuin?
So what did this game come down to? I think a big part of it was just the fish difference. I mean, this first dock not doing so hot, and GrandMonster just making use of all the fish he had much better than ThorOrders, getting out much more fishing chips, so he had more of a fishing eco, and also good fights over here, being able to use the choke points and having a good army composition. The throwing axemen and the Valkyries together, throwing axemen countering Hersers, and Valkyrie basically countering everything else. So good army composition for GrandMonster, getting the medium upgrades, which ThorOrders never got around to upgrading, so his units were a lot weaker. That's what I think the game came down to. The ThorOrders, he put up a good fight. I mean, GrandMonster is the top seed of this tournament, and he is the top player on ladder right now, at least if you believe in the ratings. So now let's move on to game 2 of this best of 3.